Alright guys, let's double feature this bitch. This is my first double feature. I've never done two movies at once yet. But I'm going to do a Andy Sidaris double feature. Malibu Express by Andy Sidaris and Savage Beach by Andy Sidaris. Look at that. Look at that 80s. Look at that 80s-ness right there. Can't beat it. Andy Sidaris is a director who I discovered not too long ago, probably I don't know about this year, maybe 2019. But I discovered him from the reviewers that I watch a lot, and he sounded great. He's one of those genre directors that you know what you're getting into when you watch his films. And I got these recently, decided to watch them both tonight, so I'm going to be reviewing them both. And yes, it came like that, this one. Thanks to Amazon. Thank you, Amazon. Love getting this brand new the way it is when I pay top dollar for it. Also, that one, a little clip missing, but you know, films are still there. This one I can fix. This one, not really. But what can you do? Anyways, let's get to it. Malibu Express, released in 1985. We've got Darby Hinton. I don't really know the actors or actresses in these films, but Darby Hinton is the star in this one as Cody, and basically he's a ladies' man. Should I start with the reviews of the films, or should I start with how they are? I guess I'll start with the reviews of the films, or the plot synopsises, since I already started. Cody's a ladies' man who is also a race car driver, and He's basically hired to watch over this house by this family called the Chamberlain family. And he meets this woman, or this woman actually tracks him down. Her name is Luciana, and she kind of gives him the info that this family wants Cody to watch their home. And he ends up meeting a slew of characters over there. There's this guy named Shane, who is the limo driver for this family. This family's really rich, and he's actually, it's funny, as soon as I saw him, as soon as he opened the door, I'm like, that's the Dick from Bachelor Party. For anybody who's seen Bachelor Party in 1984 with Tom Cruise, if you've seen the movie, you know who the Dick is at the strip club. I'm like, that's the Dick, isn't it? He looks exactly the same. So I looked it up. Yeah, it's him. So he stars in this as Shane. He's this sleazy ass guy who basically sleeps with the entire family and records it because he's going through this issue where he owes 30 grand to some loan shark or something, and he's basically framing these girls that he sleeps with in the family. I assume so, or you know, trying to use the information or the videos or the pictures for some kind of purpose. And there's also a drag queen named Stuart who lives in the house, and he drives him around to his shows. And he also somehow uses some pictures with them two together. I don't know how that happened, but somehow he ended up getting some pictures with himself and this drag queen together, and uses those to frame the drag queen as well. But you know, Stuart is not having any of it. There's this oh man, there's so much to say about this film. It's narrated. It's so corny 80s. I mean, like, so this guy's narrating himself, Cody, and basically he's, you know, anything that happens, he'll just start like explaining like yada yada yada, and then he'll be like, I'm heading up to Beverly Hills to do my mission, and then, oh, there's the Buffington family again. Oh no! And there's a family called the Buffington family, who's always, they show up randomly. They are the biggest rednecks you've ever seen in your life, and they're always just getting in his way and showing up out of nowhere. They show up like 3-4 times because they always want to challenge this guy to a race, because apparently the father of PL in the Buffington family, Cody beat him a bunch of times, and this Buffington family is always trying to get back at winning a race with this Cody guy. But basically, later on, dealing with this Chamberlain family, the film basically turns into a murder mystery because Shane is murdered by somebody. Obviously, something to do with his non-payment, but it actually ends up being something else. Shane is actually working for some kind of plot with sending information to the Russians, and Luciana actually ends up being a recruit from the government who ended up bringing Cody to kind of solve this murder mystery himself. This film has quite a more complicated plot than it needs to. It almost has like a Bond plot when the film is ridiculous. Some of the dubbing, I don't know if I've mentioned this already, but some of the dubbing is ridiculous. There is voiceover on some characters sometimes where the character's mouth doesn't move. Okay, we've all seen like, hey, but I'm talking like, or like, and he's saying like, I'm gonna get you. It's just bonkers, man. It is bonkers. Like some of the audio, there's audio issues. There's it feels like a really bad episode of Baywatch except rated R. I've never seen so many tits on screen for no reason. I am not kidding. There is probably 25 to 30 to 35 pairs of tits in this fucking film. Every 5 minutes there's a pair of tits. There's just chicks taking their shirts off. Everywhere. In the car, in the shower. Obviously the shower. At the dinner table. On the roof. On the patio. On the street. On the beach. Just everywhere. And Cody is obviously absolutely swimming in pussy. It's kind of the joke. He has this girlfriend called June Knockers, who he actually names his car June Knockers. There's a helicopter and car chase. Like I said, it feels like a really cheesy soap opera episode from the 80s, but rated R. I mean, you get shootings, you get Western style shootings, you get chases, you get the rock and roll, the like electric guitar music, like the like pure 80s style. You get cheesy dialogue, all the one-liners. It's got it all. I mean, Andy Sidaris just milked the whole like blonde babe thing that was going on in the 80s and nailed it good. Savage Beach I found a little bit more dull, but I really liked the atmosphere of it. This story basically has these two, again, blonde babes, total Pam Anderson style. They're, what are they? They're like basically drug enforcers. And it starts off with them already infiltrating this drug bust, where these guys are smuggling drugs in fruit, in pineapples actually. It's kind of funny. So they bust them. It starts off right there. Basically, it goes on where they get into a helicopter accident and they crash land on this beach. The story involves Japanese and Filipino gold traders. There's this big gold smug that's going on between those two, the Japanese and the Philippines, and they basically end up, these two girls, on this beach where there's this big turf war going on, and everybody's fighting for gold basically, and yeah, a bunch of cultures get in the mix, and again, convoluted story for such a cheesy ass film. Again, titties and electric guitar music everywhere, 80s cheese, blonde babes, more titties. I mean, they're basically borderline lesbian, obviously. they're totally gonna be straight, right? Yeah, of course, there's the scene where they strip naked, go skinny dipping. There's the 80s soap opera music that comes straight out of friggin' Baywatch. Andy Sidaris, man. He's somebody that I'm looking into more. I want to get two more of his films, which I don't know if I'll review, but Picasso Trigger and Hard Ticket to Hawaii are two more of his. I had a good time with them. There are a lot of exactly what I expected, and there are a lot of what I didn't expect at all. This one is actually loaded with country music and like twang, like a lot of twang and country, like loaded with it. And it's got that country vibe for sure, and that redneck vibe. A lot of big redneck vibe on this one. And this one, like I said, takes place, filmed in Hawaii, but takes place in the Philippines. Andy Sidaris really liked his tropical environments, and really liked his tits, that's for sure. Tits and ass, man. Tits and ass on both these films. So yeah, Andy Sidaris, someone to look into if you like your 80s cheese. You can't go wrong with purely blonde babes and everything else that the 80s was made for, with helicopter chases and blue water and you know what music I'm talking about. I mean, if you've ever watched an episode of Baywatch with Pam Anderson, you know exactly what type of vibe I'm talking about. These films are loaded with it, and that's what I went in for. And I mean, I wouldn't give them 10 out of 10. They're horribly made, but that's what gives them so much magic, and I appreciate them for that. But like the amount of fun that I went into having with them, expecting to have with them, I'd say I was about here. So I was like, there's my expectations, there's my reality when I saw them. So they delivered. They just didn't deliver as high as I aimed. But that's what happens when you aim super high, right? So yes, Malibu Beach and Malibu Express and Savage Beach. By the way, thanks again, Amazon, are fantastic, and I recommend them both if you love 80s soap opera-ish cheese that's rated R. So that's what I've got, and until next time again, cheers and have a good one.